Revenge story with Anjo.
Zara Okafor sat at the long mahogany table, her hands folded beneath the glare of the chandelier. Her mother's voice echoed through the dining room, sharp and deliberate. "We invest in promise, not pity, Zara. Leona has ideas that can blossom." The sentence landed like a slap disguised as advice. Across the table, Leona, Zara's younger sister, smiled sweetly, her fingers scrolling through her phone. Their father nodded approvingly as he signed a transfer slip. $50,000 should get her boutique off the ground, he said. Zara forced a smile that didn't reach her eyes. She had only asked for $2,000 to start a freelance project. But in this family, logic never competed with favoritism. That night, when everyone toasted to Leona's bright future, Zara quietly vowed to build something so undeniable they'd choke on their own doubt. The next morning, Zara packed her things and left her parents' house in South London. She found a small studio flat with a flickering bulb and a window that faced a brick wall. The rent ate nearly all her savings, but she didn't care. She set up a second-hand laptop on a wobbly desk and opened a blank document titled Okafor Digital Concepts. That name would one day mean something, even if it started with nothing. She worked double shifts at a marketing firm while teaching herself coding and branding at night. Her diet became instant noodles and ambition. Her family didn't call. They didn't ask. But each missed call turned into fuel. She whispered to herself, "They'll see me soon." Months bled into years, and Zara's small freelancing gigs turned into contracts. By the age of 29, her company had a team of 5, young immigrants and hustlers who shared her hunger. "We'll build global campaigns," she told them, pacing their cramped office with peeling paint and buzzing lights. "We'll turn small dreams into brands that roar." They believed her because she believed herself. Meanwhile, Leona's boutique became a social media attraction, a shiny storefront funded by family money and hashtags about manifestation. Zara scrolled past the posts and smiled thinly. "Let her pose," she muttered. "I'll produce." One Friday morning, Zara walked into her new office, a glass corner suite overlooking the Thames. Her assistant, Caleb, met her with a grin. "Congratulations, ma'am. The investment deal just cleared." She blinked, unsure she'd heard correctly. "How much?" £3 million. The number hit like thunder. She stared out at the city skyline, sunlight bouncing off towers that once felt untouchable. That evening, she poured herself a quiet drink in the empty boardroom. For the first time, her name wasn't an afterthought. It was the headline. The next day, her mother called for the first time in months. "Leona saw your interview on BBC Business," she said, voice trembling. She's in tears." Zara exhaled softly. "I'm sure she is." The silence stretched, heavy and unfamiliar. "Your father wants to talk," her mother added. "He says he's proud." Zara smiled faintly. "Tell him I'm busy." That night, she rewatched her interview. Her face calm beneath studio lights, her words steady. "Success isn't revenge. It's proof." For once, she didn't flinch hearing her own name. But peace never lasts long in families built on comparison. A week later, Leona showed up at Zara's office. She wore sunglasses too big for her face, her voice trembling. "Zara, please. I didn't know where else to go." The receptionist stared awkwardly as Zara led her into a conference room. Leona's once perfect manicure was chipped, her designer handbag nearly empty. "I'm closing the boutique," she whispered. "Dad said you might help me." Zara crossed her arms. "How much do you need?" "About 20,000, Leona said softly. "I'll pay you back." Zara raised a brow. "Like the 50,000 you never repaid them?" Leona flinched. "That's not fair." "Neither was favoritism," Zara replied quietly. The air thickened between them. For a moment, Leona's mask cracked. "You hate me, don't you?" she said. Zara shook her head. "I don't hate you, Leona. I just stopped saving people who never showed up for me." Leona's lips trembled. "You'll regret this," she whispered, grabbing her purse and walking out. The door clicked shut behind her. Zara exhaled. No guilt. No rage. Just silence, the kind that follows a decision long overdue. That night, Zara's phone buzzed with a message from her father.
She's gone.
The words froze her blood. She called immediately. What do you mean gone? He sighed, heavy and rehearsed. Leona left. No note. No call. Your mother's in tears. You could have helped instead of humiliating her. Zara's voice shook. I didn't humiliate her. Your pride is tearing this family apart, he snapped before hanging up. Zara sat in the dark, the city hum outside mocking her quiet panic. Sleep didn't come. At 2 a.m., her phone buzzed again, a voicemail. Leona's voice was barely a whisper. I just wanted them to stop comparing us. I'm sorry.
Zara played it twice, heart pounding.
The next morning, she called the police. By afternoon, they found Leona's car near a small seaside inn in Brighton. She was alive, tired, broke but breathing. When their parents brought her home, the reunion was soaked in tears. Zara stood apart, watching from the doorway.
She didn't join in.
She couldn't. 2 weeks later, a plain envelope arrived at Zara's office. No return address. Inside were photocopies of bank transfers and loan records. Her parents had secretly been funneling money into Leona's accounts again, even after the boutique had failed. One transfer, dated days before Leona disappeared, showed £15,000 from her father's retirement fund. Zara's hands shook as she realized the truth. They hadn't been desperate. They had been lying, to her and to themselves. That night, Zara drove to her parents' house. Rain streaked the windshield as memories replayed like ghosts. When her mother opened the door, she froze. Zara, what are you doing here? Zara handed her the papers. You lied, she said quietly. You told me Leona had nothing left. Her mother's eyes flickered with guilt. She needed help. You don't understand. No, Zara interrupted. I understand perfectly. I understand what it feels like to beg for belief while you pour everything into someone else. Her father appeared, red-faced and stern. You came here to gloat? Zara laughed bitterly. No, I came to see if you could look me in the eye after lying again. Silence thickened. For the first time, they couldn't. 2 days later, Zara's phone wouldn't stop ringing. Clients, colleagues, news alerts. One headline froze her blood. London family accused of misusing retirement funds for failed business. Her parents' names were right there beneath the bold text. Within hours, their accounts were frozen, their homes seized for review. Her mother called, sobbing. They're saying you reported us. Zara stood by her window, staring at the skyline. I didn't, she said softly. But maybe someone finally did. You've destroyed us, her mother screamed before the line went dead. Zara sank into her chair, heart heavy with exhaustion. Justice had arrived, but not gently. That evening, she couldn't stop thinking about the envelope. Who had sent it? No one else had access to those records. Then it struck her. Leona. The timing, the accuracy, it all pointed to her. Zara remembered her sister's trembling voice at the office, her desperate eyes. Maybe guilt had turned into courage. Maybe, for once, Leona had chosen truth over protection. The next morning, Zara drove to Brighton. The sea glimmered under pale sunlight, waves folding against the sand like soft apologies. She found the small inn where Leona had stayed weeks earlier. Outside, on a wooden bench, sat her sister, wrapped in a blanket, sipping coffee from a paper cup. You found me, Leona said quietly, without surprise. Zara sat beside her, the salty air thick between them. It was you, wasn't it? Leona nodded. I couldn't let them use Dad's money again. They needed to see what they'd become. Zara exhaled, pain and pride blending into one. You knew it would ruin them. Leona's eyes glistened. They ruined themselves long before this. They sat in silence, watching gulls dance above the waves. For the first time in years, there was no jealousy between them, just weary understanding. I hated you, Leona whispered. But you were right to walk away. You were brave before I even knew how. Zara smiled faintly. Late courage is still courage. Leona laughed through her tears. So what now? Zara looked toward the horizon. Now, We build something that doesn't need their approval. That night, Zara drafted a message she'd waited years to send. I forgive you, but I won't return. Family isn't blood, it's honesty. She hit send and turned off her phone. For the first time, silence didn't hurt. It healed. Weeks passed, and the sisters began rebuilding from scratch. They rented a small office above a bakery in Peckham, with peeling paint and a view of the street market. Okafor and Company, Leona suggested. Zara smiled.
No.
Let's call it Zara and Leona Creative. Equal names, equal start. They shook hands like business partners, not rivals. Their laughter filled the narrow room like sunlight. Work came slowly at first. Small businesses, local designers, a few social media campaigns. But what they lacked in clients, they made up for in heart. Every brand we touch, Zara said one evening, must carry truth. No fake promises. No shortcuts. Leona nodded. No borrowed money either. They sealed the vow with coffee instead of champagne. Months rolled by and word spread. Their bold campaigns, rooted in authenticity, began attracting attention. A fashion startup in Paris. A charity in Ghana. Even a London tech company wanted them to rebrand its image. Their little office buzzed day and night. One afternoon, Leona turned to her sister and said, "Do you realize we're finally working together, not against each other?" Zara grinned. "Feels strange, doesn't it?" "Feels right," Leona replied. 6 months later, Zara received an envelope, this time with her mother's handwriting. Inside was a check for £500. On the memo line, first invoice. "Proud of you both." Leona's eyes filled with tears. "Do we cash it?" Zara shook her head.
No.
"We frame it." They hung it near the entrance, a quiet symbol of closure, not forgiveness, but recognition. Time moved like gentle waves now. No more racing to prove, no more begging to be seen. The sisters worked late, argued sometimes, but always ended the day laughing. They had finally become what their parents never imagined, partners in peace. One evening, as they reviewed a proposal for a luxury hotel brand, Leona said softly, "Do you ever miss them?" Zara thought for a moment. "I miss the idea of them," she said. "But not the people who made me feel small." Their business kept growing. By their first anniversary, Zara and Leona Creative had clients across 3 countries and a team of 15. At their celebration dinner, their staff raised glasses of sparkling cider. To the sisters who turned rejection into reputation. Caleb, their first hire, toasted. Laughter filled the room. Zara looked around, her chest warm with gratitude. This was the family she'd chosen. A week later, Zara received an unexpected call. It was her father. His voice was older, softer. "Your mother's not been well," he said. "She misses you." Zara's throat tightened. "I miss her too," she whispered. "But I can't come back to what broke me." He paused. "Maybe we can start with coffee." Against her better judgment, she agreed. They met at a quiet cafe near the river. Her father looked smaller than she remembered. "You've done well," he said, eyes misty. "I was too proud to admit it." Zara stirred her tea slowly. "It wasn't pride, Dad. It was blindness." He nodded, accepting the wound and the truth behind it. "Your mother still believes love means control," he said. "Maybe she's learning." Zara sighed. "We all are." That evening, she visited her mother. The door opened slowly. Her mother's eyes were tired but softer. "You look happy," she said. "I am," Zara replied simply. They sat in silence for a long while before her mother finally said, "I'm sorry. I should have believed in you too." Tears welled in Zara's eyes. "You don't have to say more. I just needed to hear that once." When Zara left that night, the air felt lighter. She didn't look back. Healing had no grand announcement. It came in quiet moments like these, where pain finally turned into peace. A year later, Zara and Leona Creative crossed the £3 million mark. They moved into a sleek new office near the river, glass walls gleaming with morning light. A gold plaque by the door read, "Founded by sisters. Built from scratch." Reporters came again. Cameras flashed. But this time, Zara's smile wasn't about proving anyone wrong. It was about being right where she belonged. During an interview, a journalist asked, "What advice would you give young women who feel overlooked?" Zara smiled. "Don't fight to be invited to their table. Build your own. And make it so beautiful they ask for a seat." The quote went viral the next morning. Leona watched the segment and grinned. "You always know what to say." Zara laughed. "Maybe because I've lived every word." Their bond was unshakable now, a quiet sisterhood forged through fire and forgiveness. Months later, they received a letter from the same financial agency that once investigated their parents. All matters resolved. No criminal charges. Zara exhaled in relief. Leona smiled softly. "It's over." "No," Zara said. "It's just beginning." They poured tea instead of champagne and toasted to peace. Business flourished. They expanded into Ghana, collaborating with women-led startups. Their story became a beacon, shared in classrooms, conferences, and online platforms. Two sisters who turned pain into purpose, the headlines read. But behind every headline was a quiet truth. They didn't chase glory. They chased healing. One night, as Zara locked the office, Leona lingered by the framed check on the wall. "Funny," she murmured. "All that money they gave me never bought peace. But this 500 did." Zara smiled, because it was finally earned in love, not guilt. They stood together, the city lights painting their reflections in gold. Months later, Zara was invited to speak at a global business summit in New York. On stage, she looked across a sea of faces and said, "You can build wealth without losing warmth. You can forgive without returning. You can love family from afar." The crowd erupted in applause. Somewhere in that noise, she felt her younger self finally resting. When she returned home, her mother sent a single message: "I watched you speak. I'm proud of you." No emojis, no excuses, just truth. Zara smiled and whispered, "Finally." Years later, the company's logo gleamed from skyscrapers across continents. But Zara's favorite thing remained the same, the old framed check at the entrance. Beneath it, a small plaque read, "Some debts aren't meant to be paid back. They're meant to be outgrown." As the sun set over the river, Zara turned to her sister and said, "We didn't just build a business, Leona. We built peace." And for the first time in her life, she truly believed it. If you value stories of respect, dignity, and justice, please subscribe. It means more than you know, and it lets me keep sharing the lessons life has carved into me.